Hi everyone. Today's goal is to find rates of change from tables and to find the slope. A rate of change allows you to see the relationship between two quantities that are changing. The rate of change is found by taking the change in the dependent variable and putting it in a ratio on top of the change of the independent variable. And don't forget, y is the dependent variable and x is the independent variable. If the rate of change is constant, meaning it stays the same, your graph and equation will be linear. Linear means it's going to form a straight line. Here's an example of a chart. Your function is up here, y equals 2x plus 3. Your x inputs are listed on the left, your y's are over here, and your coordinate pair is the last column. When you're looking for the slope from a chart like this, you want to notice the change in the x's. Is it consistent? In this case it is, and it goes up by 2 every time. You then want to look at your answers for your y's. Is that also consistent? In this case, your y answers go up each time by 4. So your slope is going to be the change in y, which is 4, over the change in x, which is 2. And we can reduce that and say that our slope is just equal to 2. Here's another example for you. It says the data in the table below are linear. Use the data to find the slope and then graph it. Well, here's your table. Look at your x's. Each one is going up by 1. Your y's are each going up by 2. So your slope is going to be equal to the change in y over the change in x, which is 2 over 1, or we can just say 2. We're then going to use the coordinate pairs to graph the line. Because it says it's linear, we're going to connect our dots once we've plotted them with a straight line and put arrows on both ends, because this is going to keep going in both directions. Take a look at this one. We also want to find the rate of change, which is also known as the slope. It says that the table is linear, the data in the table is linear. So we're going to look at our changes in x's. We go 2 to 4 to 5 to 9. What's the problem with this one? Is our change in x consistent? We go plus 2 here, plus 1 here, and then plus 4 here. When you're faced with a table where the difference between the points is inconsistent, meaning it's different each time, follow the next list of rules or the following formula. And the formula that you've been introduced to last year is the slope formula. It says the rise over the run is going to be equal to the the difference between y2 and y1 over x2 minus x1. And the important thing here to remember is that x2 minus x1 cannot be equal to 0. We are not allowed to have zeros down in the denominator of a fraction. Okay, here's another one where we're looking at the chart. We can see the changes in x, and it's consistently plus 3. Our changes in y are consistent also, in that they go down by 5. So we don't need to use the slope formula in this one. We can just put the change in y over the change in x. Negative 5 over positive 3. Try this one on your own, and you should have the answer of the slope being 10. The slope for a horizontal line is found the same way as if the line was tilted. You're going to pick 2 points on the graph. In this case, I picked negative 3, 4, and 2, 4. You're going to use the slope formula. So we're going to take our y coordinates and subtract them, and then we're going to take our x coordinates and subtract them as well. So we have 4 minus 4 over 2 minus negative 3. Don't forget your rules of subtracting integers, and we end up with 0 over 5, which is equal to 0. The slope of any horizontal line is always going to be equal to 0. The slope for a vertical line can be found the same way. Here's our vertical line. I've picked 2 points, 3, 0, and 3, 3. I'm going to use the slope formula and take 3 minus 0, y2, y1, over 3 minus 3, x2 minus x1. Here we end up with 3 over 0, which is what? Please don't say 0, because it is not equal to 0. Remember, we are not allowed to have a 0 in the denominator. Therefore, the slope for all vertical lines is always said to be undefined. And that's what you write. If you're asked for the slope of a vertical line, you write out the word undefined. This next set is just a little shortcut. We'll go over it in class, but right now I just want you to write this down, stack them up, write one coordinate pair on top of the other, pack them down, subtract them, and rack them up. Put the difference on the left under the difference on the right. We'll go over this in class, but I do want you to write this down now in your notes.